We all think we'd spot a bank robber from a mile away because they wear ski masks and carry cartoon bags of cash. Spoiler alert, the real robbers wear tailored suits, smile warmly, and call it a convenience fee.
The sheer financial obedience of the human species is fascinating. You spend your entire biological existence trading your finite physical energy for paper currency, only to blindly hand it back to corporations in tiny, invisible slices. For decades, massive industries have perfected the dark psychological art of the junk fee. The public has been conditioned to accept an advertised price as the final cost. Today, we are entirely stripping away the marketing. We are exposing the predatory, legally protected, hidden fees designed to quietly drain your wealth. This is the uncompromising financial truth about how modern corporations legally extort you every single day. Fact 1. Hospital facility fees. When you go to a hospital or an affiliated clinic, you logically expect to pay the doctor for their medical expertise. That makes sense. However, the corporate healthcare system has quietly implemented a secondary, entirely separate extortion tactic known as a facility fee. You are not just paying for the doctor's time. The hospital sends a secondary bill, often ranging from hundreds to over $1,000, simply for the privilege of stepping foot inside their building and occupying their chair. It is a massive, legally protected cover charge for entering a medical premises. You are essentially paying VIP nightclub entry fees, except the only entertainment is a 3-hour wait, a suspicious stain on the floor, and a complimentary magazine from 2014. Fact 2. Ground ambulance surprise bills. The government finally passed the No Surprises Act to protect citizens from those financially devastating out-of-network helicopter bills. But they conveniently left a massive, gaping loophole wide open. Ground ambulances. When you experience a medical emergency and dial 911, you don't exactly have the luxury to shop around for an in-network provider. The vast majority of ground ambulances operate out of network. So, you are transported under severe duress, only to be hit with a catastrophic, entirely legal surprise bill for $2,000 the moment you recover. An Uber to the hospital costs $20 and might include a complimentary mint. An ambulance is just a very loud, very fast taxi that possesses the absolute legal authority to bankrupt your family. Fact 3. Assisted living level of care creep. Securing a place in an assisted living facility for an aging parent usually begins with a seemingly manageable, fixed monthly base rent. But this is a calculated illusion. These facilities utilize a predatory billing structure known as level of care pricing. The moment a resident requires even the most microscopic additional assistance, such as a staff member spending exactly 3 seconds handing them a daily aspirin, the facility aggressively bumps them into a higher care tier. This hidden administrative reclassification instantly adds $1,000 to the monthly invoice for practically zero additional labor. They are charging an hourly rate for handing out a pill that would make a seasoned Wall Street defense attorney incredibly jealous. Fact 4. Funeral opening and closing fees. The funeral industry heavily capitalizes on human grief to extract hidden wealth when you are too exhausted to argue. When a grieving family purchases a burial plot, they naturally believe they have secured the final resting place. The brutal reality arrives on the day of the burial. The cemetery quietly demands a massive, mandatory opening and closing fee. You have purchased the dirt, but you must now pay an additional, exorbitant ransom, often exceeding $2,000, simply to have the groundskeepers physically dig the hole and fill it back in. It is a mandatory tax on a shovel. They sell you the real estate and then charge you a luxury premium just to open the door, knowing perfectly well that the tenant isn't exactly in a position to negotiate the terms. Fact 5. HOA special assessments. The American dream of home ownership is severely compromised by the existence of homeowner associations. Beyond the regular, expected monthly dues, HOAs possess the terrifying, legally binding power to issue special assessments. If the corporate board decides the neighborhood requires a new multi-million-dollar roof, a repaved road, or a clubhouse renovation, they simply divide the massive invoice among the residents. You can be suddenly hit with an inescapable bill for $10,000. If you refuse to pay this forced assessment, the HOA has the absolute legal authority to foreclose on your home and seize your property. Because paying off a 30-year mortgage wasn't stressful enough without a neighborhood council of retired dentists acting like the financial mafia. Fact this: mandatory trash valet. Corporate landlords of modern apartment complexes have invented brilliant, completely absurd methods to artificially inflate your rent. One of the most pervasive is the mandatory trash valet fee. Management forces every single resident to pay roughly $40 to $50 a month for a third-party worker to pick up a single garbage bag from their front door. It is absolutely impossible to opt out of this ridiculous charge, even if the communal dumpster is located exactly 10 feet from your apartment and you prefer to walk it there yourself. It is a mandatory, inescapable tax on existing in the building. You are literally being held financially hostage by your own banana peels and empty coffee cups, enriching a landlord who legally calls it a luxury amenity. Fact 7. HOA transfer fees. When you finally manage to sell your own private property and escape the neighborhood, the homeowner association extracts one final, deeply insulting penalty. Buried deep within the closing documents is an HOA transfer fee. The association demands hundreds, sometimes over a full $1,000 from the seller. This massive fee does not cover any physical labor, community repairs, or tangible services of any kind. It is an administrative ransom charged simply for a board clerk in an office to type the new buyer's name into the community's digital database. You are paying a heavy, premium extortion fee just to hit backspace on a 1998 Excel spreadsheet. It is the absolute ultimate price to pay just to legally erase yourself from their jurisdiction. Fact 8. Non-refundable pet fees. Renting a property with a pet used to require a simple, refundable security deposit to cover any potential damages. The modern real estate industry has entirely eliminated this fair, logical practice. Today, landlords demand a non-refundable pet fee up front, often ranging from $300 to $500 before you even move in. This is entirely separate from the monthly pet rent they also charge. If your animal causes absolutely zero damage during your entire tenancy, the landlord legally pockets the entire upfront fee anyway. It is no longer a deposit for damages. It is a permanent financial punishment for loving a golden retriever. The dog didn't ruin the carpet, but the landlord is taking your $500 to buy a new golf club regardless. Fact 9. Dealership forced add-ons. The concept of the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, is completely dead and buried. Car dealerships no longer transparently add market adjustment markups because people complained. Instead, they force consumers to purchase mandatory, pre-installed dealer add-on packages. Before the car even hits the lot, the dealer applies cheap window tint, worthless fabric protector, and nitrogen in the tires, instantly inflating the final price by $3,000. You cannot refuse these useless modifications. You are paying a massive luxury premium for premium nitrogen, which is literally just a fancy word for air, and a fabric protector that is essentially tap water in a spray bottle. You either pay the hidden ransom or you walk home. Fact 10. Dealership documentation fees. The absolute final insult in the automotive purchasing process occurs right as you sit down to sign the contract. Dealerships aggressively tack on a documentation fee, which frequently ranges from $500 to $900. The salesperson will look you dead in the eye and claim this covers the highly complex, specialized administrative work required to legally process the sale. The harsh, objective reality is that this fee merely pays for a clerk to press print on a set of standardized, pre-written legal forms and mail a title application to the DMV. You are paying an astronomical, pure profit surcharge simply for the dealership to use their own printer. That officially makes the guy in the back office the highest paid typist in human history.
Are you furiously checking your bank statements yet? Your species complains bitterly about taxes, but you'll gladly pay $1,000 for a guy to dig a hole and call it a bargain. Keep your eyes open. Your wallet is going to absolutely hate the next 10.
Fact 11. Rental car toll transponder fees. Renting a vehicle for a vacation seems straightforward until you approach a modern toll booth. Rental companies have devised a brilliant, legally sanctioned extortion scheme involving those little plastic transponder boxes stuck to the windshield. They don't just pass the cost of the toll onto your final bill. They aggressively charge you a daily convenience fee, often $15 a day, simply for the absolute privilege of having that plastic box exist inside the car. You are renting a $3 piece of plastic at a 500% markup for a week. It is the only industry on Earth that actively charges you daily rent for the distinct privilege of paying a completely separate government tax, and if you flip the box closed, they fine you anyway. Fact 12. Pay-by-mail toll surcharges. So, you brilliantly decide to avoid the rental car transponder scam and just drive through the electronic toll plaza, assuming they will mail you the bill. Congratulations. You have just triggered a secondary trap. Local toll authorities have modernized their highway robbery. When cameras flash your license plate, the actual toll might only be $1.50. But when that paper bill arrives at your house, it features a massive $4 administrative surcharge for the extreme labor of mailing a piece of paper. You are essentially paying a 400% penalty because the state's automated camera had to buy a postage stamp. At this point, the highway asphalt is literally mugging you and legally charging you for the getaway vehicle. Fact 13. Broadcast TV surcharges. Cable television providers are the absolute, undisputed grand masters of the hidden fee illusion. They will aggressively advertise a promotional package for $60 a month, baiting you into a restrictive contract. But when your first bill arrives, it magically swells to $85. How? By weaponizing the broadcast TV surcharge. This is a mandatory, completely inescapable fee they quietly tack on just so you can watch free, over-the-air local channels like ABC and NBC. Yes, the exact same channels you could legally watch for $0 using a $20 antenna from the hardware store. They are fundamentally renting you the public airwaves and making you pay a massive premium just to see local news anchors read the weather report. Fact 14. Regional sports network fees. The cable television extortion doesn't stop at local news. Right beneath that broadcast surcharge is the infamous regional sports network fee. This is a hefty, entirely mandatory charge, often $15 a month, completely dedicated to funding local sports channels. Here is the brilliantly diabolical part. It applies to absolutely every single customer. It does not matter if you are a fanatic who bleeds team colors or an 80-year-old grandmother who only watches cooking shows and historical documentaries. You are subsidizing multi-million-dollar athletic contracts against your will. You are legally forced to finance a baseball team's new stadium just so you can watch a British guy bake a pie on a completely different network. Fact 15. Telecom regulatory recovery fees. Cell phone providers have mastered the art of making their own business expenses look like government taxes. If you inspect your monthly mobile bill, you will find a vaguely threatening line item called a regulatory recovery fee, usually hovering around $3 to $5. It sounds incredibly official, like a mandatory federal tax you must pay to keep the country running. It is absolutely not a tax. It is a completely fabricated corporate fee. The telecom company is simply taking their own internal legal costs, property taxes, and government compliance expenses, and quietly passing the entire financial burden directly onto you. They run the business, but you get the distinct privilege of paying their corporate overhead every single month. Fact 16. Router and equipment rental. Internet service providers possess a monopoly on your connection to the modern world, and they exploit it thoroughly with the router rental fee. When they connect your house, they hand you a basic, incredibly cheap plastic modem and router combo. Instead of selling it to you, they quietly charge you $15 a month in perpetuity to rent it. That piece of hardware costs them perhaps $40 wholesale. By year 3, you have paid over $500 to lease a piece of plastic that functionally belongs in a recycling bin. They purposefully make installing your own equipment a technical nightmare just to ensure you keep paying an astronomical monthly hostage fee for a blinking box that barely reaches your own bedroom. Fact 17. Instant transfer protection fees. The government finally cracked down on banks charging catastrophic $35 overdraft fees for a cup of coffee. But the banking industry does not simply surrender its billions in pure profit. It evolves. Enter the instant transfer protection fee. When your checking account runs dry, the bank gracefully steps in to save you from bouncing a transaction. They will automatically move funds from your own savings account to cover the cost. But for this incredibly heroic, fully automated digital action that takes zero human effort, they charge you a $15 convenience fee. They are penalizing you a premium rate just to move your own money from your left pocket into your right pocket. It is digital financial babysitting at its absolute finest. Fact 18. Out-of-network ATM fees. Accessing your own hard-earned paper currency should not require a financial strategy. Yet the out-of-network ATM fee remains a masterpiece of double-dipping. When you are desperate for cash and use a competitor's machine, the financial punishment is swift and twofold. First, the owner of the physical machine charges you $3 for the extreme convenience of dispensing the cash. Then, your own bank, the institution trusted to guard your wealth, aggressively penalizes you another $3 simply for having the absolute audacity to visit a competitor. You are paying a $6 penalty tax just to hold your own $20 bill. It is the only industry where they fine you for wanting to actually look at your own product. Fact 19. Monthly maintenance fees. The banking sector has successfully engineered a legal system where simply not having enough money is a punishable financial offense. It is known as the monthly maintenance fee. If your account balance drops below their arbitrary corporate threshold, often $1,500, they systematically siphon $12 to $15 out of your account every single month. They justify this as the cost of keeping your digital file open on their massive servers. It is fundamentally a poverty tax. They look at a customer who is clearly struggling to make ends meet and mathematically deduce that the best corporate strategy is to forcefully take whatever tiny amount of money they have left until the checking account inevitably hits zero. Fact 20. Paper statement fees. In their relentless pursuit to eliminate overhead, banks have weaponized environmentalism to extract even more wealth, predominantly targeting older generations. The paper statement fee is a direct financial punishment for refusing to adopt their mobile application. If a senior citizen prefers to receive their monthly financial records securely printed and mailed in a physical envelope, the bank quietly deducts $3 to $5 a month for the privilege. They claim they are saving the trees, but the objective reality is they are just aggressively milking the elderly. They are charging a premium subscription fee for a single piece of standard printer paper and a stamp, essentially punishing you for understanding how the postal service works.
You have to admire the sheer audacity. They literally charge you money for not having enough money, then fine you for mailing the receipt. If I tried to scam this brilliant while alive, I'd be a bank CEO on a mega yacht. Next up, travel and dining. They are about to legally rob you while you chew.
Fact 21. Hotel destination or urban fees. The hospitality industry suffered a massive legal defeat when forced to stop hiding resort fees at the very end of your booking process. But did they eliminate them? Absolutely not. They simply rebranded the extortion. Now, if you book a standard room in the concrete jungle of downtown Chicago or New York, you are hit with a mandatory destination fee or urban fee. This $30 to $50 daily surcharge supposedly covers your basic Wi-Fi and the distinct privilege of using a treadmill in a basement closet they call a fitness center. You are essentially paying a mandatory resort tax to stay in a city that features absolutely zero beaches, no cabanas, and aggressive traffic. Fact 22. Adult seat selection fees. Government regulators recently mandated that airlines can no longer charge extra to seat young children next to their own parents. It was a rare victory for common sense. However, the airlines immediately retaliated against adults. If you want to sit next to your wife, husband, or a colleague on a 5-hour flight, you must cough up a massive seat selection fee. They treat adjacent seating like a premium luxury upgrade, charging $40 to $60 per person, just so you don't have to spend the entire journey making awkward small talk with a stranger eating a tuna sandwich. They have successfully monetized your basic human desire to sit next to someone whose name you actually know. Fact 23. Carry-on baggage fees. Budget airlines revolutionized modern travel by making the tickets incredibly cheap, and then aggressively charging you for the concept of having physical possessions. The carry-on baggage fee is their ultimate masterpiece. You are no longer just paying to check a massive suitcase into the cargo hold. Companies like Spirit and Frontier now routinely charge you $50 to $60 simply to walk onto the plane holding a small duffel bag and place it in the overhead bin yourself. You are paying a staggering premium to act as your own luggage handler. If your bag is 1 millimeter over their arbitrary cardboard sizer, you are getting financially penalized for the crime of packing clean underwear. Fact 24. Dynamic surge pricing. The concept of a fixed, reliable price is being aggressively hunted to extinction by corporate algorithms. Welcome to the era of dynamic surge pricing. Originally pioneered by rideshare companies during rainstorms, this predatory tactic has violently spread to concert tickets, fast food burgers, and bowling alleys. The price of a standard cheeseburger or a concert ticket now fluctuates in real time based strictly on how many other human beings happen to want one at that exact second. You are not paying for the actual value of the food or the entertainment. You are paying a massive, algorithmically generated penalty strictly because it happens to be 7 o'clock on a Friday night. Fact 25. Restaurant wellness surcharges. Dining out has become a masterclass in deciphering deceptive receipts. Restaurant owners are terrified of printing higher prices on their menus because it might scare away customers. Instead, they leave the prices artificially low and quietly ambush you at the bottom of the receipt with a wellness surcharge. This 3 to 5% mandatory fee is supposedly meant to fund health insurance for the kitchen staff. Rather than simply managing their business expenses and paying their employees a sustainable wage like a normal enterprise, they guilt-trip the customer into directly subsidizing their payroll. It is a brilliant way to raise prices without having the fundamental courage to actually raise prices. Fact 26. Service versus delivery fees. Food delivery applications are the undisputed champions of the multi-layered fee illusion. When you order a $20 pizza, you logically expect to pay for the food, a tip for the driver, and a standard delivery fee. But the apps are much greedier than that. Right before you confirm the order, they aggressively inject a secondary, entirely vague service fee that adds another 15% to your total. What exactly is this service? The delivery fee covers the transportation, so the service fee is quite literally just a massive tax for the distinct privilege of using their digital software. Your $20 pizza magically costs $38, and the driver still barely gets paid. Fact 27. Credit card surcharges. For decades, retail businesses quietly absorbed the 2 or 3% transaction fees charged by massive credit card companies as a standard cost of doing business. Not anymore. Now, small businesses, cafes, and gas stations are legally allowed to pass that exact penalty directly onto you. It is often deceptively marketed as a cash discount, but the reality is much darker. If you choose to pay with a standard piece of plastic, They actively penalize you by adding 3 to 4% directly to your final bill. They have successfully forced the consumer to pay for the merchant's own payment processing infrastructure. You are basically paying a tax just to access your own digital currency. Fact 28. Self-checkout tip screens. The concept of tipping was originally designed to financially reward exceptional human service. Corporate America has aggressively warped this tradition into pure psychological manipulation. When you visit a bakery or a grocery store, you now frequently encounter the self-checkout tip screen. You have physically gathered your own items, scanned the barcodes yourself, and bagged your own groceries with zero human interaction. Yet, the glowing tablet audaciously swivels around, staring into your soul, begging for an 18 to 25% gratuity. They are actively utilizing social pressure to make you feel guilty for not tipping a highly profitable piece of corporate hardware for doing absolutely nothing. Fact 29. Auto-renewal dark patterns. Federal regulators finally stepped in and made it illegal for companies to force you to wait on a phone line for 3 hours just to cancel a basic subscription. The corporate response was the invention of dark patterns. Sure, there is technically a digital cancel button now, but it is a psychological labyrinth. They hide the cancellation link in tiny gray text on a slightly darker gray background. Then, they force you to click through 5 distinct, desperate screens, aggressively asking if you are absolutely sure you want to leave, while offering temporary discounts to confuse you. They intentionally engineer the software to exhaust your patience, hoping you simply surrender and let the billing cycle continue. Fact 30. Return shipping deductions. The golden era of completely free, risk-free online shopping returns has been quietly assassinated. Massive e-commerce giants and clothing retailers originally hooked consumers by promising that if an item didn't fit, you could send it back for free. Having successfully destroyed physical shopping malls, they have entirely reversed the rules. Now, when you print a return label for that slightly oversized jacket, they quietly deduct $7 to $10 from your final refund. They call it a restocking or return shipping fee. The days of treating your living room like a personal fitting room are officially over. The corporations are clawing back their logistics costs directly out of your bank account. The era of corporate honesty is officially dead, but your financial defense doesn't have to be. The absolute best weapon you have against junk fees is friction. Call the billing departments, dispute the ridiculous surcharges, and make it incredibly tedious for them to process the theft. Corporations rely entirely on your silence, your polite compliance, and your daily exhaustion. Do not give them the satisfaction of a quiet surrender. Keep your money where it belongs.
Congratulations on surviving. I'd offer you a certificate of completion, but that triggers a $20 printing fee, a digital delivery surcharge, and a mandatory convenience tax. As long as your heart is beating, a boardroom is actively calculating how to slice another $5 out of your pocket. Read the microscopic print, fight the fake charges, and remember, they only steal what you are too polite to protect. Stay paranoid, my friends.